Hey, everybody. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Socially Speaking. Thank you for visiting with me today. And I have been waiting all week for us to get together. So I'm so happy to see you here today. Very, very, very happy. First of all, I do have to give my condolences to Kate Spade's family, her child, and her husband. And I love her work. Who doesn't? Um, I don't know, surprisingly or not. Today's topic was and is loneliness. It's not depression. I actually somewhat covered that during my introduction a week ago. Um, I explained that I have been working in the mental health arena for nearly 2 decades, about 18 years in New York City, and about 2 years or so in the South. And working in the mental health profession as a mental health practitioner, you learn that there is definitely an epidemic of depression, even double depression, and it's really not ever, never, ever to be taken lightly. So I just want to strongly encourage people, if you are feeling that strong sense of clinical hopelessness and sadness, please get help. And I wanted to give out the suicide prevention phone number, which is 1-800-273-TALK. That's 1-800-273-TALK, and that is the phone number to the suicide prevention department. And I want to just say, in regard to help, when it comes to psychotherapy treatment, and again, this is not an attempt at counseling over the internet. It is not an attempt at psychotherapy over the internet. It is a socially speaking channel, so I'll be covering, obviously, sociology, psychology, mental health, behavior, and also entertainment and fashion. But I just wanted to mention, because I know that many people don't know, when you go to seek help, please understand that help means, whether it's in a clinic or with one-on-one with a psychologist or one-on-one with a psychiatrist, help means that you improve. Help means that you feel better. Treatment, adequate, sufficient, proficient treatment that you receive from a clinician, that you receive from a mental health provider, means that you are feeling better. Most often I've seen people that they're oblivious to that. When you go and you seek mental health assistance, you seek mental health treatment, just like at a medical doctor, your symptoms improve. You get better. You begin to heal. And it can be done. I've seen it. It's a lot of work, but I have witnessed it. So please keep that in mind if you ever do decide to seek assistance, any type of counseling, any type of treatment. Help actually means that you are beginning to feel better and you are beginning to improve. If you are seeking, or if you're in mental health treatment and your symptoms are not improving, please advise that to the practitioner that's providing the treatment to you. And you can always change clinicians. You can always change clinics. You can always change providers. You can always change practitioners. Don't stay fixated somewhere that you are not beginning to improve and feel better. I can't stress that enough, because I've seen it over and over and over again. So having said that, I would like to proceed with the topic. Again, surprisingly or not surprisingly, the topic was and is loneliness. And it's not a depressing or depressive loneliness. It's just your basic loneliness, because again, I've seen many people say they become engaged in negative behaviors because of loneliness, or sometimes just not engaged in negative behaviors because of loneliness, but just lonely just because society is different now, and people are not that social as they claim to be, and there is a deep-seated tendency for people to feel a little more lonely, lonelier than usual. So I just wanted to review some helpful tips and some helpful hints for a person to practice to start to feel better. First, I want to remind you to please like, and I want to remind you to, subscribe if you haven't already. And I think there's a bell situation that we need to do. And also, I have a website, My Socially Speaking. If you like, you can visit my website because it's in conjunction, sorry, um, to this wonderful channel that I just love. I'm so excited about moving forward in all of the discussions. And I've heard someone tell me something about music. I will continue to have music. I just was trying the music, and the music was louder than my own loud voice. So I'm working that out behind the scenes where, with good music and where you can also hear me and the music. I prefer the music because I was actually like dancing when I heard the music. Don't get me to dancing because then that'll be like another channel. So, first of all, I wanted to recommend and suggest for persons that are experiencing mild loneliness, not anything major, but basic loneliness. One thing that I know is very helpful, well, something that's very helpful, is to be creative. Become creative. And when I say become creative, I mean explore your interests, explore your preferences. Oftentimes, people, they like things that someone else likes. You would be surprised to know a lot of people don't know what they like. Go figure. A lot of people, they'll adapt your preferences and your practices and take them on, and they don't even explore or even know. They just don't have the insight to know what their preferences are or what they like to do. So I strongly encourage you, if you are a person that experiences a lot of loneliness, or maybe not too much loneliness, I want to encourage you, explore, get creative, and explore some things you like. Okay, even if you just have to contemplate, and then try certain different things, different activities, um, painting. This all depends on where you live, because if you're in a reasonably small town, or versus a big city, there's various things that you could do. Obviously, a huge city, you got tons of things that you can do. Museums, painting, scenery, nice walks, parks, someplace like New York. Sorry to always bring up New York, but that's my hometown, so that's always going to probably be most of my place of reference. But and New York has tons of things you can do for free. And big cities, I think, have fun things to do for free. So explore what you like, and you can even do that like at your place of employment, different things in your office. You can become interested in some kind of group, whatever your particular interest is. You can develop or initiate, start a group similar to like a book club. We got to get real creative nowadays because there is this new normal going around, and if it's positive, we got to get with it, and if it's negative, thumbs down. Okay. So be creative, explore within yourself, and read different things and see if they are appealing to you or not. Tons of people love online dating. If you love online dating, go for it, go for it, go for it. Have a good time with it. If you love Netflix, stay with it. If you love comedy shows, stay with it. So explore what your interests are and develop interests. If you don't have any interests of your own, develop. I know a lot of people copy other people's interests, but I encourage you, get creative and think about your own. And if it's something you're inclined to do, start a book club. You know, I don't know why people minimize reading unless you have difficulty reading. Reading is, when they say reading is fundamental, it really is. And there's so many different ways to read nowadays. It doesn't have to be the boring book. There's so much e-reading, and there's the computer that you can read on. But you kind of can't get around reading, even if you don't really like to read. Reading is a strength. So, at your leisure, at your convenience, at your topic of preference, get into reading. And you could develop a book club, start up a book club, and that will help you to become social and help to combat some of the loneliness, because from a book club can come friendships, relationships. Also, I don't know if many would prefer, but a church group, a prayer group at church is also a very helpful way, can be a very helpful way to combat loneliness. Um, and any of these types of groups that you might attend that I'm recommending or that you would be a part of, people can't help you if they don't know who you are. So I get the shyness. I'm shy, believe it or not. I really am. But nothing happens if we don't participate, if we don't put forth the effort. And though it can be challenging and though it can be hard, difficult sometimes at times, it's our life and we have to be accountable. We are accountable for our lives. So we got to put forth that effort. So church can be a great way, a church meeting, not a church service, but church service is great too. But a church meeting, a prayer group. Churches always have some type of meeting during the week. So that's a great place to help you to combat loneliness if you're experiencing that type of situation. Uh, Also, dining out. Now, I never, ever, 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 ever dine out alone, but I know that people do. Um, so I'm going to recommend it for the people that are comfortable with it. But since the topic is loneliness, I would recommend dining out with someone. And I'm sure most people do have at least a friend. Um, Nowadays, people just don't have a bunch of friends. Well, some people do, but not many have a bunch of friends. So I would encourage like dining out, getting out, and dining out alone at minimum. And I have to stress that carefully because some people buy friendships. Some people, instead of going out alone, will pay for someone to go with them. And I just want you to be mindful and be careful because buying friends will not work out. They will most likely presume you to be, well, they'll probably exploit the kindness. So just be very, very careful with going out with people where you're the person that's paying, especially if you're paying all of the time. Now, if you're a person, you got the most money and you're balling out of control like that, which you probably are, maybe okay, but you just got to be a good judge of that yourself, and you have to be careful with that. I can't, certain things I just can't stress enough because I see it so often and it becomes problematic. So be careful, be mindful not to buy friends. It's okay to treat your friends sometimes. Right. Like I said, if you're the friend that's balling out of control, okay, but just be careful with that. The other recommendation to combat loneliness is taking a course. I said it, take a course. Now, I realize that a college education, university education is not something that everyone is attracted to. However, we're talking about combating loneliness. So if you're not interested in pursuing an education, taking a course somewhere, taking some type of training, some type of, not a webinar, but because that's on the computer, a person to person, face to face seminar, something where you put yourself in a situation where you gotta network, you gotta say something to somebody, where there's like two people next to you, so somebody's probably going to say something to you, and some sort of friendship or acquaintance, connection, network can be developed through that type of interaction. So it's just a consideration. Take a course and see if you can meet some type of decent person or people. And even if it's not just one course, try it again and again and again if you need to. The other recommendation I wanted to make is a second job. A second job is a great way to combat loneliness also. If whether you need it or not, whether you need the extra money or not, a job is especially like a retail job or a retail job around the holidays, is crowded, it's packed, there's extra staff. So there is that opportunity to meet more people. Now, I'm going to say this. When you're meeting people, sometimes you could become more interested in developing a friendship with another person than they are with you. In case that happens, it's fine. It's fine, it's fine, it's fine. Even if your feelings get a little hurt, it is totally okay. All right? So people have the right to be friends with whom they choose to be friends with. So we have to respect that. So in case you're out socializing and meeting people anywhere, but particularly at your new second job, and you feel a likely or a possibility of a bond with someone and it's not reciprocated, it's okay. And that goes just for any place, even the church group. We have to be respectful, okay? So, and people have their, and they don't owe you an explanation as to, I don't want to be your friend because your car is white or because you live in that neighborhood and I live over here. They don't owe us an explanation. So just, move the group. How they say, KIM, keep it moving, okay? Eventually, if you're kind, you're going to meet some nice people or a nice person, and that will help you to combat your loneliness. And be friendly. I notice a lot of people say, I'm not meeting anybody, I'm bored, I'm lonely. And sometimes people have a lot of baggage. Sometimes people are not so amicable, and you have to at least put forth the effort somewhat. So if you're not going to be pleasant and be kind, you're going to push back your chances at actually developing a bond or meeting someone where you have the opportunity or the possibility to develop a bond with someone. So please be pleasant. At least work on being pleasant and try to be kind. Okay? Kindness isn't that difficult. For some reason, people seem to struggle with it, but it doesn't mean that you have to accept people that you don't want to socialize with, or accept wrongful behavior or negative behavior, or even be friends. Kindness is a mannerism. It doesn't even have to be a smile. So it can be an energy. I just really, really want you to get to the point where you can be comfortable in your own skin and open to the newness of a good relationship or a decent relationship, meaning a friendship, that will help you to combat loneliness. Because many, many, many people of all ages, surprisingly, uh, not only the youth, but well, not only older people, but also young are lonely as well. Like teenagers are lonely. So it's a different time that we are living in. It almost seems like gone are those days where people had like tons of friends and then big parties and things like that. But like I said, where I am bringing that back. It might not be the way it once was, but at least it's going to be better than what we've been doing. And we gotta give it that good try. We have to put forth that effort so that it can manifest, so that we can get back to good. And before I go, I have to mention that I heard some of Kanye's new tracks. I like them. I mean, I'm a great fan of his, anyhow, still. And I listened to some of the tracks and I like them. Sorry, I don't know the name of the tracks that I listen to. I know, that's bad. But I listened to like 3. And I liked it. Like I was almost ready to dance. I wish I could play it as my background music, but I know he wouldn't be happy if I did that. Or maybe he would. And also in my entertainment news, I'm getting my tickets for Ocean 8 tomorrow. I'm a huge fan of Ocean 8. The first one, the second one, not so much the third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. What did we go up to, 12 or 13? So love Ocean's 8, but they kind of lost me as we kept going. However, I love Rihanna, and I'm not going to lie, that's pretty much the main reason why I'm going to see it. And also it's based in my hometown. So I'll be reminiscing and just enjoying the scenery in the background. So if I don't think the movie is good, Ocean's 8, I'm just not going to say anything. I'm just going to pretend that I didn't even say this. So if I don't like it, I'm not going to say anything bad about it. But if I do like it, I'll be talking about it. I'll be telling you all about it. So until we meet the next time, be kind to one another and be kind to yourself. This is Stacy, aka Sunny Day, and I will see you next time. And remember, we literally have our friends and families and people's hearts in our hands, for real, for real. So just remember that the next time you're coming across somebody saying something to somebody saying something to you, be mindful of that. See you soon.